Hello, my name is Skylar Gilmore, and this is our presentation, Introducing Hydrogen Cooking Systems in Sichuan, China. I'd like to begin our presentation with a personal story here to get your mind rolling. I've done a bit of traveling in my life, and a few of those trips have been to some quite underdeveloped countries. One of these trips, I was frantically trying to buy a case of waters, as I've been told so many times, only to drink bottled water in certain regions. And as I was checking out this tiny little hole in the wall convenience store, an older man snickered at me while ringing me up and said, "Here you cannot drink the water, but from where you're from, you can't breathe the air." At the time, I disregarded what he said, grabbed my waters, and rushed to our tour bus so I didn't miss my excursion. But as I sat on the tour bus thinking about his words, they began to make a little more sense. Highly populated, incredibly dense areas, like many regions in China and the US, all have the same issue: extremely poor air quality that needs to be addressed, not only for the health of its people, but also for a country's long term investments. This silent killer we speak of, born during the Industrial Revolution, is none other than non renewable energy stoves. So, why China? Well, in 2010, China overtook the US as the largest global manufacturer at 28% of the world's manufacturing. In turn, China has the second largest GDP rate ranking, just behind the US. So, China has the wealth and the manufacturing power to make long term investments for both the health of its people and to hopefully overcome the US as the richest country in the world someday. However, they are currently number one in a different race. They are the largest emitter of CO2 emissions, with 5 out of the 10 worst air quality regions in the world. So, why is this an issue? At first glance, the Human Development Index of Sichuan province is fairly high. It's also home to the sixth largest economy of China, with a population of 81.1 million people. The problem, though, comes with the province's density. Sichuan has a population density of 450 people per square mile. That is dense. For reference, California has a population density of around 251 people per square mile. In areas as dense as Sichuan, citizens' exposure to harmful air pollutants are substantially increased. The dense population, paired with the extremely poor air quality index, are what makes Sichuan the ideal candidate for our policy. Currently, this region uses coal and biomass for its heating and cooking needs. Biomass energy is fuel that is derived from living or once living organisms. Most of the time, it's wood, or even sometimes trash is used as heating or an energy source. I'm sure that not a single one of us would consider cooking our food or heating our home with piles of trash. But what if that was just the most convenient or the cheapest option? The mass usage of coal and biomass for energy sources in residential Sichuan is a large contributor to the overwhelming pollution problem. Some of the air pollutants produced through the process of burning fuels are nitrogen dioxide and ozone. Nitrogen dioxide specifically is a highly reactive gas that can cause damage to the human respiratory tract. Long-term exposure can also cause chronic lung disease. The AQI in Chengdu, the largest city inside of the Sichuan province, is currently at 157. Over 150 is considered very unhealthy for the general population. No wonder people in China have been wearing masks since before COVID-19. PM 2.5 and PM 10 are the particular matters that are visible in the air, like when you see smog over a busy city. The PM 2.5 concentration in Chengdu is currently 6.4 times the World Health Organization annual air quality guideline value. Our chart here on the right highlights the differences in air pollutants between Sichuan and Ya'an, a city just southwest of Chengdu. There are several ways that biomass burning and airborne pollutants harm health, but these are the most notable ones which we plan to track in order to evaluate our policy. First, hand, foot, and mouth disease. It is more common among children under 5, but anybody can get it. This illness causes sores and rashes on your mouth, feet, and or hands. Second, we have coronary heart disease, When breathing poor quality air, the air pollutants travel deep into your bloodstream and eventually to your heart, damaging your blood vessels and increasing your chances of developing heart and circulatory diseases. Third, we have acute lower respiratory tract infection. Household air pollutions are known to increase the chances of this illness by 78%, and it is also responsible for 500,000 deaths in young children every single year. So, what do we suggest? A clear way to reduce air pollution and the health concerns brought by it is by introducing environmentally sound alternatives, such as replacing energy sources with hydrogen. More specifically, introducing hydrogen stoves into the lives and families of citizens in Sichuan. Hydrogen is a more abundant and cleaner alternative compared to our current energy sources. By installing hydrogen stoves into the homes of several thousand families, we can track the health of these families over a several-year period of time. This also opens the door to using hydrogen as an energy source in other avenues of your choosing. Like any decision, there's always going to be pros and cons. To list just a few of the many pros, the burning of hydrogen produces no harmful emissions. This means that families will no longer have to go through the pain of losing their child due to tract infections caused by air pollution. Hydrogen is more efficient and more powerful than our current energy sources. Unfortunately, in order to transport hydrogen to the homes of our treatment group, we must create a costly new infrastructure. Luckily, creating a new infrastructure sets the path for new innovations and better allocations of resources. Hydrogen is also very flammable. When not used correctly, it can be dangerous, but this is the same with every other energy and flammable source. Lastly, farming hydrogen is costly. It is done through a process called high temperature water splitting, which takes a healthy investment in order to begin producing. So, we are proposing the implementation of the second version of the National Improved Stove Program. Between 1982 and 1992, China implemented version 1. The program provided 129 million improved stoves to rural areas. Most of these stoves were biomass cook stoves, but this program performed so well that the country of China and everyone in it today are still using nearly 2/3 of the stoves provided back then. We believe that it's time to reinvigorate the program and replace these harmful stoves with renewable energy hydrogen stoves. Our plan is to provide 5,000 random families in Sichuan with hydrogen-fueled stoves this year. We will attempt to control the validity of our data by providing stoves for the average size household in Sichuan, around 3 to 4. Then in 2025, we will collect data on the air quality of overall Sichuan, the health of our treatment group, and the health of our control group. With this data, we will conduct a difference in differences analysis to determine the effect our policy has on AQI and participant health. We will expect to see slight increases in air quality throughout the Sichuan province. However, we will expect to record increases in health and decreases in our air polluted related illnesses. We also hope to record a decrease in infant mortality rates among our treatment group. Our graph here on the right is what we will expect our difference in differences analysis to look like over the 2-year period. With your help, our policy can see growth into several new profitable avenues. First, after completing phase 1 of our policy, hydrogen stoves can be mass-produced and distributed to any region in China. Once an infrastructure suitable for the transportation of hydrogen is created, the same means of transportation can be used for manufacturing, transportation, and several other efficient uses. Also, once the means of farming hydrogen has been created, excess hydrogen can be sold at high costs. We can also see this possible with this policy being applied in several other developed and underdeveloped areas due to its benefits. Throughout the implementation of our program, we do expect to have limitations and challenges. For instance, there will be geographical limitations. Areas that are covered in mountains or on a plateau may be more tedious and more difficult to implement the program in. During our policy, We cannot control the pollution problem in neighboring provinces. This may affect our data slightly. We also are unable to control our treatment group from contacting air pollution outside of their home. Lastly, controlling pollution in the residential cooking sector is only a fraction of the pollution problem. We greatly appreciate your time, and we hope to be hearing from you soon. Thank you very much.